Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
Good morning, everyone. Phil Penarski here with the Wood TV Live Desk. Hope you're all having a great start to your day. Storm Team meteorologist Blake Harms is here once again, as he is on every Tuesday. But we're taking a little bit of a break talking about our typical storm coverage as we have the past couple of weeks to talk about something very, very important, Blake. It is whether or not people will be able to enjoy their Memorial Day weekends outside. And I'm being told that there is some pretty good news with that.
Or some fantastic news, Phil. We're in the middle of a dry, pleasant stretch of weather, and outside of some cooler temperatures tomorrow and Thursday, what nice weather is going to roll on right into the weekend. Temperatures near to, or well above average, I should say, with lots of sunshine on the way. We're tracking seasonally warm temperatures. In fact, much of the weekend will likely be in the 80s. Sunshine prevails throughout with only some occasional clouds, and rain chances at this time look very low. And so at this point, the weekend is looking terrific. Saturday, upper 70s, mostly sunny. Maybe a bit more cloud cover Sunday, but still some sunshine, highs in the low 80s, and then mid-80s for Monday for Memorial Day. So an absolutely terrific weekend. Matt mentioned yesterday that this may be the best, some of the best weather in the country for Memorial Day weekend, and it keeps getting warmer into next week too, with highs climbing into the mid-80s. So we have a beautiful stretch of weather on the way. And again, one that's really nice for folks who want to get outside and start taking advantage of the weather.
Right, definitely. And I think that's sort of the important thing to see, especially in that one graphic where it said it was going to be kind of cloudy. And while obviously we want to avoid any percentage of precipitation happening this weekend, it is going to be nice to not have that sun just beaming down on you, especially with when those are going to be the two probably most popular days for people to head out to the beach or be barbecuing and all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks like at this point we may get just enough cloud cover to kind of keep the sun from getting too intense, but it is definitely going to be the warmest weather that we've likely had so far this year, and it really couldn't come at a better time to close out the month of May. But we've been treated to several years now of a really nice Memorial Day weekend, and it's looking like the same is going to be true this year.
Yes, no, very excited about it. I know, especially, I keep complaining about it, Blake, but every time we've had this, sort of cold spell, snow, I've been the main one complaining here in the newsroom, and I know that. But now it's been kind of nice seeing it sort of transition to what everybody was warning me about falling in love with Michigan, and that's when we had this nice weather.
It's a dangerous cycle because in the winter we like, man, why do we live here? And then the summer rolls around, it's like, oh, this is why we live here.
Exactly.
So we're about to enter just a beautiful stretch of weather, and it looks like the warm weather may continue well into June as well, warmer than average. So, again, it's looking like a really nice stretches ahead for us.
Right. Now, and of course, everybody watching us on Facebook, I encourage you to check out our web story that kind of details just a little bit more on everything we're going to be seeing over Memorial Day weekend. It will also have links to our forecast if you want to know a little bit more about what's coming up ahead, including that, as Blake mentioned, warmer air and warmer temperatures we're going to be seeing into the beginning of June as well. But Blake, one thing I did kind of want to touch on before we let you go is, of course, discussing this dry spell that we've been having and how we might be entering the record books with May and how dry it's been.
So unless we see any measurable precipitation tomorrow morning as the cold front comes through, that looks very unlikely. Chance of a sprinkle, but not sure it'll be enough to even register in the rain gauge. If we don't see any rain through the rest of the month, that will put us at our second driest May on record, second only to 1936, which was in the midst of the Dust Bowl. So a pretty interesting switcheroo in the forecast, considering as of early April we were at our wettest start to the year, and now we're seeing our second driest May. And so we'll have to start watching for potential drought conditions to develop, especially as temperatures get warmer. And it looks like we may start to really dry things out. So if you haven't fired up the sprinklers yet or gotten the watering cans ready, you'll likely want to start taking advantage of that towards the end of this week, or you'll start to notice some browning on the plants and the lawns.
Right. No, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or anything like that. Of course, I do love that we are not seeing any rain and we're able to enjoy this nice weather. But, Blake, if you don't mind just kind of maybe touching on do you foresee any potential issues with us due to this longer dry spell?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think as we enter next week, this will certainly become more of a conversation. The lack of rain, we're in our driest stretch actually since December of 2020, and assuming we don't get any rain through the rest of the week, that will become a much more impressive statistic. We'll have to dig farther back in the books, and so we're certainly going to have to watch pretty closely what kind of conditions develop. A drought outlook comes out every Thursday morning. Wouldn't be too surprised if we fall into the abnormally dry category with the new outlook that comes out, but again, we're getting to that time of year where temperatures really start to warm and it doesn't take long for things to start drying out. So it's going to be beautiful weather. We're just also going to have to keep in mind that we may start to run into a few inconveniences or issues relating to the lack of rainfall, assuming we don't see any in the next week or two.
Right now, and Blake, one last thing before we do let you go. We want to hear from you. What do you think is going to be the best day for people to really take advantage of it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Where do you think is really that sweet spot to really enjoy Memorial Day?
That's a good question. I would say really probably any day of the weekend. Saturday's going to be the coolest, relatively speaking, but it looks like just about every day looks very similar. Maybe a bit more cloud cover Sunday and Monday, but not by much. And so I would say you really can't go wrong with any day. Friday will likely feature temperatures in the low to mid 70s, so it's going to be pleasant, but not as warm as the weekend. So I would say Saturday, Sunday, Monday are really your best bets to get out and enjoy. And if you miss it on the weekend, if you got to work the weekend, whatever, the warm weather continues through a good portion of next week, so there will be plenty more opportunities.
Yes, definitely. That is definitely great news to hear, Blake. Blake, once again, we do appreciate you coming on the live desk, as always, every Tuesday.
Thanks for having us, Phil.
And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into this latest edition of the Wood TV Live Desk. I'm Phil Pinarski. We hope you have a great rest of your day and also a fantastic Memorial Day weekend.